Stephanie! My sister sprung out of bed and got dressed for the morning quickly. She always wanted to look like she was already up before my mom came into her room. I heard her footsteps and sat up in the bed. Steph, oh, you're ready. Uncle James is here. He wants to see you. Stella, out of bed now. Why don't you wake up when Stephanie does? I always have to come to wake you up. I'll be down. My mom and Stephanie went downstairs. I lied down and heaved a sigh. Just until I'm 18, I always thought, after that, I can be free. I got dressed and picked up my school bag. Perhaps this time I can get to school before Stephanie. As I was going down the stairs, Stephanie was running upstairs. I sat down at the breakfast table and ate quietly. Stephanie showed up with her bags, all dressed for school. Oh, Stella, only if you had come downstairs a little early, I could have dropped you both. I always try to wake her up, but she stays up so long with her games and her PC that she just can't. Stephanie and Uncle James walked to the door, chatting excitedly. We ought to do something about your gaming, Stella. I looked down at my half-eaten pancake. I stuffed it into my mouth and gulped the juice. I mumbled bye to my parents and ran out of the house. I walked to school slowly. There was no point now. I couldn't compete with Uncle James' car anyway. I walked to my class and half of the students were seated. I settled down at the back of the class. Everyone at school was so obsessed with Stephanie. They didn't want to hang out with me anyway since Stephanie openly disliked me. Our teacher asked us to show us the assignment, and as I took out my notebook, I saw nail paint over the whole sheet. My face turned red. I'd worked so hard on this assignment, and it was all gone. I didn't even use nail paint. I knew what had happened instantly. Stephanie had decided to ruin my assignment. I was too embarrassed to show it to the teacher. Hence, when she asked me to stand out of the class for not doing my assignment, I simply obliged. When I got home in the evening, Stephanie was already home. Stephanie! Everyone stared at me. Why did you spill your nail paint all over my assignment? What? What assignment? I took out my notebook and showed everyone the spilled nail paint. Luckily, Stephanie was wearing the same nail paint today. Stella, didn't you borrow this nail paint from me yesterday? Me? I never wear nail paint. Everyone knows I don't. Well, I don't understand. I have no reason to spill anything on your notebook. I've been trying to help you get better at school. Stella, did you do it because you knew you had the answers all wrong? What? My answers are not wrong, and I know you did it. Enough. Stella, can you prove it? She's wearing the same nail paint. That's not enough. Anything else? I shook my head. Off to your room then. Stella could always get away with anything, and there's nothing I could do to change that. I went up to my room and sat down in front of my PC and started playing Valorant to distract myself. When my online friend asked me why I sounded upset, I explained my whole situation to him. He said he could hack her phone and record everything, but I told him that it sounded like too much and I'd probably manage to get in trouble for it. I was engrossed in my game when Stephanie entered the room. She pushed my shoulders and I took off my headphones. What? You've gotten some guts, sissy. How dare you try to tell on me? Well, using my mouth? Besides, why are you so bent on ruining everything for me? I'm going to teach you a lesson that you will remember for life. Don't cross me. She left the room and I put on my headphones and continued playing. When I went down for dinner, I noticed that they were all dressed to go. Unfortunately, you're not coming with us. You need to take responsibility for your actions and not blame it on Stephanie. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Somehow, Stephanie had convinced them that I was lying. My mom put a plate of pasta in front of me, and then they all left, leaving me in the peace of my own company for dinner. I took small, slow bites of my pasta as I felt tears stream down my cheeks. I had always attempted to act indifferent to my family. However, deep down, it always had its impact. I had decided that I would never complain about Stephanie again because somehow I'd always be the one to get stuck in it. It wasn't as shrewd or as cunning as her. It was a week after the incident at home, and it had been abnormally quiet and drama-free at our house. When I entered class this morning, all the students were moving away to give me a free passage to walk, and when I sat down at my usual spot in the back, all the students got up to sit in the front. I was alone in the whole row. It was very strange, but I didn't think too much about it since none of them were my friends anyway. In recess, I was walking in the corridor. My hand brushed past one of the students. He screamed, "Ah!" I was taken aback and I stared at him. "Stay away from me!" "What's wrong with you?"
"Me? Everything's wrong with you. You're the one with AIDS."
He flinched as he walked away from me. "What? AIDS? We all know about it. I don't know why the school hasn't kicked you out of here yet," one of the girls said as she stood with her back to the wall in the corridor. As I walked away, everyone began scattering around, moving away from me. I ran to the washrooms and locked myself in one of the stalls. I got home, and as soon as my dad entered, my dad stood up.
"Where were you?"
"At school."
"Your teachers called, Stella. You weren't in any of your classes after recess. Where were you?"
"I wasn't well, so I went to the washroom."
"Excuses. You have them all the time. Why can't you be like Stephanie? Why make it so hard for us to parent you?"
I simply looked down at my feet.
"Off to your room. You are grounded."
I felt my eyes sting again. I saw Stephanie sitting on the table, enjoying a fruit bowl as I dragged myself up to my room. I cried bitterly for some time and then decided to play Valorant as I was alone and not allowed to go downstairs. I told my friend about everything that had happened, and he presented his wicked idea once more. This time, I had had enough. What more could go wrong? I thought to myself. I rummaged through my PC and found Stephanie's phone ID. I gave him the ID, and he promised that it would all work out perfectly. He had planned to record everything through Stephanie's phone and then live stream it on our smart TV. He was also going to send a recorded video to all of Stephanie's contacts and everyone at school through the official email of the school. We continued playing until Stephanie came into the room. She banged the door hard so I could hear her. I wasn't wearing headphones, so even my online friend could hear her. He sent me thumbs up and I turned to my sister. "Fun, wasn't it?" I simply stared at her and she continued. "I told you I'm going to do something that you're going to remember for life." "So you decided to tell everyone I have AIDS." "Genius, isn't it? Everyone always stayed away from you and now they were running away from you. It was hilarious." "Why are you doing all this?" "Oh, Stella, you don't understand anything, do you? I have to keep doing all this so I can maintain my position everywhere. Not that you are my competition from me, but Mom, Dad, they might have some love for you since they gave birth to you." "You really think so?" "No, the love is getting bleaker by the day, sis." "Then why? Just let me be. I'm here all the time, alone in my room." "Well, it's no fun without you getting thrashed from time to time. The house gets so quiet and boring. Also, I need to keep reminding our parents that I'm their favorite daughter." I heard footsteps and so did Stephanie. She quickly picked up one of our school textbooks and sat on the bed flipping through it. Our dad came in. His body was shaking in anger. Stephanie smirked at me after looking at his demeanor.
"Stephanie!"
I glanced at my PC and my friend had texted me perfect in the game chat. I saw my dad rush to her bedside as she stood up, the book falling from her hands. He slapped her hard as we all stared in shock.
"Have you lost your mind? Stooping so low just to harm your sister?"
Stephanie looked at him in surprise. What?"
"Look at your phone. We saw everything on the TV."
Stephanie looked at her phone and she saw that her camera was on. "How?" My parents and Stephanie had a long and tiring argument. She began getting calls from her friends and realized that they had received the video in mail and everyone had seen it. My parents were so angry that they had planned to send Stephanie away to a boarding school to complete her education. When the school called to tell them that they are going to be expelling Stephanie from school as she had failed to meet the ethical standards of the school, their decision was set in stone. My parents apologized to me profusely. for never believing me. I felt bad for them, but there were some things that I wouldn't be able to forgive. However, perhaps with time, we could have a better relationship than we do now. Everyone at school also apologized to me, including the staff and the principal, who did it publicly in our morning assembly. People began talking to me, and I'd made a select few friends also. The incident gave me a boost, and I began streaming as a gamer. Everyone online loved watching me, and my streaming even began paying me. Life was beginning to look less like survival and more like an adventurous ride.